Tonight is a special edition because, as you know, this coming weekend is 4th of July.
Yeah.
And next year,
Yes, it is.
I believe we'll be 250 years old next year.
Yeah.
Were you old enough? Do you remember as a kid when we celebrated the bicentennial?
I absolutely do.
I mean,
there was a big lead up to that, thankfully.
Yeah.
That's been
I was 10 years old.
50 years ago, correct?
It was 76. So I was 10 years old.
Thankfully, our country made a big deal about that.
Yeah.
I was young, but I can remember it.
Well, we're going to show you tonight how much it's a whole lot different world now. We already knew that, but patriotism is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
It is literally at an all-time low. In fact, let's look at this article here. It says, national pride is declining in America, and it's splitting by party lines, new Gallup polling shows. It says only 36% of Democrats say they are very proud to be an American. 36%, according to a new Gallup poll, reflecting a dramatic decline in national pride that's also clear among young people. The findings are a stark illustration of how many, but not all, Americans have felt less of a sense of pride in their country over the past decade. The split between Democrats and Republicans at 56 percentage points is as wide as since 2001. That includes all 4 years of the first administration of Donald Trump.
Sorry to interrupt the video, but we have a brief message from today's sponsor. Multiple wars around the globe and central banks are turning to gold. Gold is the most in-demand safe haven asset among central banks. Demand for gold comes as central banks look to move away from the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is the only currency central banks are looking to reduce exposure to. The U.S. dollar has sunk to its lowest level in 3 years. The Citibank CEO warned, sovereign wealth funds are diversifying more aggressively. According to Nassim Taleb, gold is now the world's reserve currency. As of July 1st, gold is now classified as a Tier 1 full reserve asset. Forecasts for gold have now reached 6,000 to 7,000 an ounce. Silver and platinum have joined the commodity supercycle that has many years left. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention Destiny Image, and you'll always get best-in-class service from Patriots protecting Patriots. Patriot Gold Group offers the no-fee-for-life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be held in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the no-fee-for-life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Call 1-888-450-6380 for a free investor guide today. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated Goldie IRA dealer 9 years in a row. Call 1-888-450-6380.
It says Democrats' pride in being American has dropped. And there's the chart here. That's just crazy to me.
My.
That is just crazy.
Oh,
look at that.
I mean,
along party lines. So here's the thing tonight. The thing tonight. We love America, and I mean I think everybody on this channel loves America, but we forget how young we are. 250 is
compared to Europe, compared to the Middle East, of course,
and China, and all these countries, Egypt, and all these. Right. So we're still a young country.
Yes,
and we are the first country to ever have a completed written constitution. I don't know if you knew that. There were versions of it, but we were the first country to ever have an actual written constitution that declared rights to the citizens of that nation. Oh. And so, people talk about the Roman Empire and all these empires that we talk about all the time. They all have one thing in common. They rose to power and they're no longer.
They fell.
Yeah.
In a spectacular way.
Many
of them.
And there's a pattern that's happening in America that's very similar to the Roman Empire. And so,
let me tell you something. You probably won't remember this. When I was in middle school, literally middle school, we used to get the Jimmy Swaggart magazine.
Oh, yeah, I remember the magazine.
He did an article, or someone did an article that was in this magazine, and it talked about it. Basically, it was a comparison, I believe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the 1980s here, of Rome and America.
Wow.
It compared, basically, I'll throw two things out there. The love and infatuation with food, love and infatuation with sports
Mm.
of
Being entertained.
ancient Rome.
Are you not entertained?
That's right. In America. And this was 40 years ago.
Wow.
And
our country was much more patriotic then.
yes,
I mean, can you
yes,
imagine
it
that
was.
him saying that now?
Yeah.
Because now it's like, I mean, you have people every day in the streets chanting "Death to America" in our own country.
Yes.
It's insane.
Oh my God.
It's insane.
Let's add one more thing.
Okay.
I wish I had this in here with me. Oh, this would be a great time to show this. Tell everybody what I showed you the other day. What got washed in? It was in one of the pockets.
The penny
Of the pair of jeans or shorts one of us was wearing, and it was laying in the bottom of the washing machine.
It's almost like a microcosm of our country.
Yeah.
She came in there and she goes, "Larry, you got to see this penny that I washed." And y'all, she washed, the penny was down, looked like a nickel. I mean, it was painted.
It barely
the penny
had
was painted.
any copper.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think there was copper. I think it's
right.
I think
We understand it's
plated.
not solid copper.
No.
But one wash in the washing machine, it was more silver than it was copper.
Exactly.
I almost cried.
America.
Because
what's happened to America?
Is that not yet another comparison to ancient Rome?
Yeah.
They started, what did they do? Make the coins smaller. They started making it less than full metal or whatever they had been making it. This is scary.
It's the pattern.
Do an experiment.
Full circle.
I know you're not supposed to deface the money or do anything to destroy the money.
Right.
Just simply leave one in your pocket and wash it and let us know what happens.
Yeah, it depends on what year it is.
Right.
Yeah,
This
if
apparently
it's an older one.
This apparently was a pretty new one. I'd tell you what year, except it washed off.
It washed off. That is crazy.
But listen, one more thing about the money. If you're talking about a penny, just hold it in your hand.
Yeah.
It doesn't
It feels like nothing.
It feels like nothing.
It's like a feather.
It's like air.
Yeah. Well, let me just tell you about our great country. If you're looking for something to do on 4th of July, maybe you could join a Free America protest. That's an anti-Trump protest. And get this, in all 50 states, they're going to be protesting Donald Trump on the 4th of July. America. Hey, by the way, thank God you live in a country where you can do that. You know, you got the freedom to do that. In other countries, if you did that against the sitting president or prime minister, you might be unalive.
You still can today, so you might want to think about partaking.
Yeah. So Free America is what it's called. Free America events protesting Donald Trump's administration are set to be held across the country throughout the 4th of July weekend. The events follow other nationwide protests against the Trump administration and its policies. Organized by the 50-51 movement, which means 50 protests, 50 states.
501.
50-51.
Okay, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
50-51.
looking at the
50-51 movement. 50 protests, 50 states, and one
website.
Movement. And other groups since he returned to office in January. Millions of people took to the streets for the No Kings protest on June 14th, targeting Trump's military parade, marking the Army's 250th anniversary that coincided with his 79th birthday. People took part in this protest. Free America Weekend is being organized by the Women's March, which was launched in 2017 as a grassroots group of women outraged over Trump's 2016 presidential win. Women's March is urging people to host or join community events during the holiday weekend. This July 4th, while the U.S. marks Independence Day, we'll gather across the country on porches, in town squares, backyards, and streets to stand for real freedom and build a vision of a free America brick by brick.
Right.
Free America is wherever we are. Free America is whatever we make it. Host or join a July 4th Free America action rally, barbecue, march, art builds, community block parties, and more to celebrate real freedom.
Yeah.
At least 170 Free America events are being planned for the holiday weekend in numerous states, including New York, California, Texas, and Florida, according to Women's March. So, wow, what a way to celebrate America.
Yeah. Build your own 4th of July celebration, right?
Unbelievable, y'all. Unbelievable.
Hey, Kanglon.
Kanglon is in the house. We know who Kanglon is. We know his real identity.
We know who you are. And Pamela, we are praying for your sweet little pet.
Which Pamela?
Pamela Baker. She said
what?
Yes, she said her sweet little baby is about to have its 3rd or 4th surgery in 2 years. So
I think we might have talked about that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But
it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
When did you leave?
Yeah, exactly.
Saturday.
I can see you miss me. You didn't even know how long I've been gone. But hey, if you want to join a 4th of July, a traditional 4th of July celebration this weekend, sorry, a lot of it's being canceled out of fear of ICE raids. Wow. ICE fears have shut down July 4th events in multiple California cities. Wonder why in California cities. And what are they worried about? Okay. Several Southern California cities have discontinued plans for various July 4th events, citing safety concerns and immigration enforcement in public posts announcing the cancellations. The suburban Los Angeles cities, each overwhelmingly Latino in population, have scuttled plans, movie screenings, and Independence Day celebrations as fear of ongoing immigration and customs enforcement raids continue to ripple through the state. The one town southeast of downtown Los Angeles decided to postpone a planned July 3rd Independence Day party due to recent events and concerns regarding the safety of our residents. Now, here's my question. Not trying to be mean or hateful here. This is one day of the year that we set aside to celebrate the birth of a nation. Now, we're going to get into the facts of that a little bit later to try to correct some misconceptions there. But, American citizens shouldn't have fear to go out in the streets and celebrate. So what are they celebrating? If you are illegal and you're waving the flag of another country, what were you going to celebrate that day? Because you're not a citizen of the country. Help me understand this.
Oh boy, you're opening a can of worms right there, buddy.
I'm just sort of in la la land right now. So I'm tired. So I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth tonight.
Well, what you're talking about is basically one of the things that is wrong with our country and wrong in our country. We don't shun immigrants who want to assimilate and become American citizens.
No.
Right?
Lord, no.
Our arms are open wide for you to go through the correct process and become a part of our proud nation.
Yes.
Proud in the most positive sense of the word. But we all know the reason there's so much angst and anger and frustration and why we're even talking about this story in the first place is because the opposite of that has been going on for so long.
Nailed it. Hey, but here's some good news. 4th of July gas prices are lowest since 2021. All right. Okay, there's a little good news there.
Now, hang on just 1 second.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Gas prices are up 20 cents.
Baby, you forgot how big they were.
Since a month ago.
You forgot how high
apparently
they were.
I'm forgetting how much they were only 4 years ago.
You're going to see the chart. Okay. Gas Buddy forecast July 4th gas prices to hit the lowest since 2021. The 25 Independence Day gas price forecast has been released by Gas Buddy. This year's forecast has one big highlight. 4th of July gas prices are set to be the lowest since 2021. With tensions in the Middle East cooling.
Gas prices in the Boise area
Who's that talking?
Where'd that come from?
Where's that at? Who's talking?
Last week.
Who's talking?
To Gas
it's not her.
Buddy.
She's doing
the
weather.
Average price for a gallon of gas in the Boise area now $3.30.
Video started on its own. Okay, let's let it play.
Okay, stop.
All right, wait a minute.
That is 23 cents higher than a month ago, but still 21 cents lower than a year ago. We are now higher than the national average, though. That's $3.18 a gallon.
All right, so let's see if I got the chart. Okay, here's the chart all the way back to 2021. It was 343. Let's see. No.
Average
308.
308.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how they come to with that.
So that ends up being
the pumps for drivers
okay,
this week,
stop,
according to
stop
gas
playing.
gas
stop
prices
talking.
have fallen 12
stop talking.
cents in the last week, now averaging $3.20 per gallon in Boise. Gas prices are still about 5 cents higher than a month ago. The national average price is $3.21 per gallon, putting us about a cent lower than the average.
Of that,
the whole state of Idaho Idaho's averaging
$3.12 a gallon, 2021.
per gallon,
Is that what
which
you're
is
looking
up
for?
2 cents from last week.
So do you think when it says average that's really reflects what prices end up being for us? Because that
bad news
is,
for drivers. Gas prices are taking a big jump. That's according to Gas Buddy. Take a look. The average price
more
in 22
than what it is right now.
It was almost $5 on July 4th. It was like $4.98 on the chart. Is what it got up out west.
Okay,
where they're doing it. So
you're talking about mostly these numbers are from West Coast.
No, it's national. It's national.
It is national.
It's national. Yeah.
Why am I not remembering that? I think we were building a house that year.
I don't.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was not a banner year for me.
No.
I'm just gonna be honest.
I'll be honest with you. I almost checked out. I almost just left this world.
There was a span of time where, sadly, you did not know what day of the week it was.
What does this say? Hey, y'all, you've influenced my queen. Holy Spirit had us live on Facebook with the good, bad, and prophetic news back in 2020, shortly after we met y'all. All right. Okay, look here. This is a good little video. I feel like we need to watch tonight. It's from PragerU, which I typically endorse them. I'm not 100% always in support of everything they do, but I like it. Patriotism, why we need it. I told y'all this is a special broadcast tonight. Let's watch this and react to this. I really think this is good.
What kind of future will the United States have if young Americans are taught to have contempt for their country? To say the least, it's not a happy prospect. Yet from all accounts, that's exactly what's happening. Ask sixth graders what they know about George Washington, and they're likely to answer, he owned slaves. Well, that's true. It's only one part of Washington's story. The full story, of course, is that America's first president was one of the great men of his age, universally admired for his bravery, integrity, and visionary leadership. Washington was a remarkable man, but only one of many remarkable individuals throughout American history. This was once taken for granted. Now it's barely acknowledged. For someone who's admired America from afar and has now made it my home, I find this very troubling. I've always considered Americans' deep love for their country, their patriotism, to be not only part of their charm, but a major reason for America's success. Now I see that patriotism being undermined in, of all places, America's classrooms. The 1619 Project, for example, which contends that America was conceived in racism in 1619 rather than in freedom in 1776, is taught in over 4,500 schools. Instead of teaching young Americans to revere their country, the left-leaning educational establishment seems bent on teaching them to be ashamed of it. Are they succeeding? From what I've seen, patriotism still thrives in much of the country, especially in the South. You can feel it under 1,000 Friday night football lights as the crowd rises for the Star-Spangled Banner. You can sense it in every small-town parade on the 4th of July. But there's no question that this patriotism is fading. In fact, in many places, it's disappearing altogether. Okay, you say. So what? Why is this such a big deal? Because patriotism is the glue that holds America together. To love America is to love the values it stands for. Above all, freedom. The value for which America, more than any country in history, has been known. Freedom of speech. Freedom to practice the religion of one's choice. Freedom to pursue one's own interests with the minimum of government interference. These are the values that unite Americans, not ethnicity, skin color, or anything else. These are the values that have made America a magnet for the world. Ronald Reagan once observed that you can live in France but never become a Frenchman, or in Turkey or Japan without ever becoming Turkish or Japanese.
Think about this.
But anyone from any corner of the world can come to live in the United States and become an American. Yeah. That's because America's about a set of ideas. To me, a Brit, this feels like magic. But the magic only works if you buy into these ideas. To do so makes you a patriot. But if America loses that patriotic spirit, well, if that happens, Americans will stop thinking of themselves as individual citizens united by a common set of values and begin to define themselves in terms of their race, ethnicity, religion, or some other designation. America would soon start to resemble the places its immigrants once fled. Over here would soon become little different from over there.
Wow.
Am I suggesting that America's perfect or even close to it? No one's ever made that claim. But before you judge the United States too harshly, you should compare its history with the likes of Germany, Russia or China, or any country in Africa or South America for that matter. From that perspective, America looks pretty good. And the closer you look, the better America looks. 3 times in the 20th century, America helped rescue the world. In the First World War against German militarism, in the Second World War against the Nazis and the Japanese Empire, and in the Cold War by defeating Soviet communism. The left often rages against American imperialism. That's nonsense. The United States has had the power to plant its flag almost anywhere on Earth. But what did it do instead? It planted its flag on the moon. People often think of Americans as being boorishly self-confident.
Maybe.
But I find them to be quite humble. Yes, Americans love to loudly celebrate their patriotic holidays. But perhaps the most important day in the American calendar marks neither victories nor battles. It's Thanksgiving. The day set aside for national gratitude.
Wow.
We're the only one.
For good reason. Everyone living in the land of the free and the home of the brave, indeed any American with common sense, has so much to be grateful for. Whenever and by whatever means their ancestors arrived, they're all the beneficiaries of the hard work and good choices made by those who came before them. Choices like declaring independence, setting up a constitutional republic, ending slavery and fighting fascism and communism. That's what should be taught in our schools. We need to foster a love of America, not contempt for America, if we want to keep America. I'm Douglas Carswell, president of the Mississippi Center for Public Policy for Prager University.
Is it fitting that we need a Brit to present that
exactly
to us?
And he doesn't sound like he's from Mississippi.
No, he doesn't.
I didn't hear Mississippi in there.
You know.
But look, hey, you can say what you want to say. America is far from perfect, and our history has got some pretty dark places, very dark places in our past. But what he said, we've still done things that no other country's ever done.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
I mean, that was good. That was good.
good.
I mean, look, God bless America. Okay.
Absolutely. I love that.
All right, here we go. So let's talk about things that you didn't know about America and the 4th of July. 15 fun facts you didn't know about the 4th of July. Some of these you're going to know, and some of these you're going to be surprised. You ready?
Can't wait.
You have not seen. I wish I had a drum roll.
Yeah, you were surprising me with this segment.
All right, here we go.
Drum roll.
We didn't actually declare independence on the 4th of July. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Apparently I did not.
Okay.
Because I thought it was declared on the 4th
Okay,
of July.
okay. Here it's yes and no.
Okay.
One of the greatest misconceptions of the 4th of July lies in the name and the date. It is widely believed that America declared their independence from Britain on July 4th, 1776. However, the official vote actually took place 2 days before, and the declaration was published in papers on July 4th.
Wow.
Interesting. And it was signed several weeks later by 50 of those.
Did this happen in the Continental Congress building?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. All right. Now, the designer of the 50-star flag lived in Lancaster, Ohio. That's pretty interesting. And believe it or not, it was made in 1958. So that's interesting.
Back up and say that again?
Because of Hawaii and Alaska. When they were added. It's hard to believe that they've not been a state that long.
I know.
So here's some more things here. America will enjoy 150 million hot dogs during the 4th of July.
That's all?
Yeah, I mean,
think it'd be more than that?
You think it'd be more than that? Yeah. I don't know how old this article is. Only 2 men signed the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July. Charles Thompson and the infamous John Hancock were the only 2 men who actually signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. The other 54 delegates signed over the course of the next month.
So you mean John Hancock was either number 1 or number 2?
Yeah.
And his signature is so giant.
That's why, because there wasn't nothing on there. So he just took the whole paper and he just said, hey, look at here, King George. You ain't even going to have remember he said, you ain't going to have your spectacles to see my name.
That's true.
All right. There is something written on the back of the Declaration of Independence, and no, it's not a treasure map written in invisible ink. That's immediately what I thought.
What's his name? The actor?
Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Where's old Nick Cage? It says, according to History Channel, a simple message is written upside down across the bottom of the signed document that reads, Original Declaration of Independence dated 4th July, 1776. According to the same article, no one knows who wrote this. or when, but it was believed to have been added as a label during the years of the Revolutionary War when parchment was frequently rolled up for transport. That's so interesting.
That is so interesting.
One sign later recanted the Declaration of Independence. I didn't know this.
No.
Richard Stockton, a lawyer from New Jersey, became the only signer of the Declaration of Independence to recant his support for the revolution.
He was of what state?
Of New Jersey. And he said he recanted his support for the revolution after being captured by the British November 1776 and thrown in jail. After years of abusive treatment and his recanting of loyalty, Stockton was released to find all his property destroyed or stolen by the British.
How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
You thought you was going to get away with something? Yep. You thought you was going to get your stuff back? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and his library was one of the finest in the college.
Should have just stood your ground and spit in their eye. That's what I would have done.
The average age of the signers were 45 years. Of the 45 years old, of the 56 signers, the youngest signers, Thomas Lynch Jr. and Edward Rutledge of South Carolina, were only 26.
Whoa.
Benjamin Franklin was the oldest at 70 years old. The Declaration of Independence was written on a laptop?
A laptop desk made of wood?
Not a modern laptop, but still. Thomas Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence on a writing desk that could fit over one's lap.
There you go.
The device was referred to at the time as a laptop.
Have you ever seen that? I've seen some pictures or illustrations of that before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Men love fireworks. $1 billion worth. According to the American Pyrotechnics Association, Americans will spend more than $1 billion on fireworks each year.
I will agree with that. And
and the dogs,
our neighbors have already started.
Yeah, and the dogs, they don't love it.
They don't love it. But
they don't love
the
it.
neighbors, they don't care because they don't do the cheap stuff.
No,
they've already been doing the very loud and
the bombs,
beautiful displays.
All right, listen to this. Out of that 1 billion, only 10% are displayed professionally, which probably accounts for the estimated 12,900 firework-related emergency room visits across the country.
That tracks.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. And this is pretty cool. This is why we don't really need to get mad about fireworks. Okay, we got to accept it, 4th of July. Okay, because it goes back to 1777. Fireworks dated back as a tradition of Independence Day as early as its first birthday in 1777. John Adams wrote in a letter to his wife, Abigail, that he wanted Independence Day to be celebrated with pomp, parade, shows, and illuminations.
Awesome.
This original letter was written when Adams presumed that Independence Day would be celebrated on July 2nd, because that's when it was first declared.
You think they were getting their fireworks from China back then?
I don't know. I think China invented it.
No, I'm being silly. But I really do believe they did.
They really did.
That they were.
They really did. Yeah. Okay. Look, I know this is a different show Monday night. Some of y'all are already checking out, but here's okay. It's okay. It's 4th of July weekend. We're just glad to be on the air tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, because we okay. Never mind. How about this? Wearing Old Glory violates the U.S. code. Some of you knew that, some of you didn't know that. How many of you own a flag t-shirt, beach towel, shorts, headband, or any other item that represents the U.S. flag? Turns out that you're in violation of the U.S. flag code. Wow. The U.S. flag code states that you are in violation if you sell or display any article of merchandise upon which it has been printed, painted, attached, or otherwise placed a representation of the flag in order to advertise, call attention to, decorate, mark, or distinguish the article or substance on which it was placed. That being said, in this instance, the flag code is not enforced or even enforceable, so don't worry. You won't get arrested by the flag police. I get it. I'm in violation, but America. Mm-hmm. Okay? All right. So here's just one more thing, and then we'll move on.
Were you shutting up after that?
No, not shutting up. We're just moving on. Bizarre 50th anniversary. We knew this. Mm-hmm. Thomas Jefferson at 82 and John Adams at 90 both died on July 4th, 1826, within 5 hours of each other on the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Right. Is that crazy or what? And they didn't know that each one of them died.
And was not Adams quoted as saying at least...
Yeah, at least Jefferson remains. At least Jefferson remains.
And listen, guys, you've got to go to Monticello to see.
Yeah, if you get
the
that's
house
bucket list.
that Thomas Jefferson built.
Yeah.
His estate, whatever you want to call it. It's so cool. You've got to go see it.
Yeah. How about this? A lot of people don't know this. July 4th was not deemed a federal holiday until 1870, almost 100 years after the nation was founded.
My goodness.
It was just done as American citizens, and it wasn't an actual holiday. How crazy is that? That's crazy.
I would not have expected that.
Anywho. For those that are still with us, I know some of you have been asking, how are we doing with the fire at our church? It's a slow process. It's going to take a while. They're still reconstructing, actually still gutting the building, still taking out debris. Right. And you know, I haven't got a chance to go by there today. I will tomorrow and get an update. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and some of you are still wanting to know how you can help. So one of the ways you can do is just go to solidrockchurch.com. solidrockchurch.com. I'm actually going to put a link on my website, larryragland.com, where it make it easier for you just go to one website. But right now, solidrockchurch.com. This is the front page. You'll see a little history of our fire. If you didn't know about it, our church burned on the night before Pentecost this year, June 7th. And we are in a temporary location now. And several of you have given towards it because there's a lot of expense outside of insurance that we didn't think anything about that we're running into. If you'd like to help us, we surely would appreciate it. We thank God for your prayers, but you can go there if you'd like to help us, and we want to just give you that opportunity to do that. All right, well, you know what? I think it's time. We need to bring old Jimmy in.
Wow, this is a record early entry.
Jimmy!
Let it go.
Jimmy!
It's
a supernatural AI update.
And Cousin Cosmo.
Oh, you brought up big old Cosmo.
Is making a
Cosmo.
surprise appearance.
I want to ask you a question. Do you love America?
He said, of course I do.
Yeah. Of all the countries for him to come to, he came to America.
Exactly. He knew it was
all
best.
The new people are like, do they believe in aliens? Do they believe in aliens? We believe that there's something called aliens, but they're demons, fallen angels. That's what we believe.
That's right.
But this is a supernatural AI update, and we'll let you know something that's really troubling. Entry-level jobs fall by nearly a third since the launch of ChatGPT.
We were talking about this earlier, and
that is crazy.
Listen, I don't like this stuff, but
ChatGPT's not been out that long, y'all.
No.
And a third of entry-level jobs have been destroyed. Several big companies in the UK have revealed plans to reduce their headcount by using AI. I hate these websites. Stop it. The number of entry-level jobs comprised of junior positions, graduate roles, and apprenticeships have fallen by almost a third since the arrival of ChatGPT. Job search site Adzuna, this is a British article, that has vacancies looking for graduates, has fallen to the lowest level since COVID, with entry-level jobs now only accounting for a quarter of the total market, down from 28.9% in 22.
You said entry-level jobs accounting for 1/4?
Yeah, now accounting for 1/4 of the total market. While replacing entry-level roles with artificial intelligence taking on tasks is part of the picture, rising labor costs, including increased national insurance contributions, are also a factor, while rising salaries crippling inflation until recently. ChatGPT launched in November of 22, releasing several versions since then and starting what has been a new era of technological transformation. The company which owns it is now worth $300 billion, making it bigger than any public listed company on the London Stock Exchange.
Oh my goodness.
The chief executive of Anthropic, another AI firm, said recently that AI could wipe out up to half of all entry-level jobs in as little as 5 years.
Okay, pause there. Where does that leave our college graduates?
Exactly.
Where does that leave our young people leaving high school and not going to college and wanting to enter at an entry-level job somewhere?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty soon they're not going to be able to flip the hamburgers.
Exactly. Well, they're already the robots are flipping hamburgers right now. Dario argued that unemployment could rise to 10 or 20% in the UK over that time frame, saying, "I don't think this is on people's radar." No. And that's what all these people are saying. We are not ready. No. We are underhyping this.
We've talked about this multiple times on our little show right here.
Yes.
Underhyping.
So that's that. And then here's one that's really gonna probably where's your chicken? You got to get your chicken. Where's your chicken? Did we've lost another chicken?
No, I think,
Jamie, we didn't lose the chicken.
I think he took a dive off the front edge of the table, so he's not gone.
So do I need to go? Wow!
Ladies and gentlemen, yes. When we get to into this point of the show, I'm just simply going to put my hands around his neck.
Not around my neck.
Around his neck, and he's going to make the chicken sound.
What? Yes. You are trying to take advantage. That's why you dropped the chicken, so you could take your frustrations
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to let a crisis go to waste. We are going to milk this for every bit of attention that we can get out of it. I'd be crazy if I didn't, right?
Help me out, Big Picture family. Don't let her do it. Don't let her do it. So here we go. Mattel, the maker of Barbie. Oh, gosh. I can't even believe I'm reading this.
We talked about this earlier, too.
Is adding ChatGPT to toys. What? Mattel is adding ChatGPT to toys, and it could cause real damage to children. You think? Collaboration between Barbie maker and OpenAI comes amid concerns about chatbot psychosis. Wow. Plans by toy giant Mattel to add ChatGPT to its products could risk inflicting real damage on children, according to child welfare experts. The Barbie maker announced a collaboration with OpenAI last week, hinting that future toys would incorporate the popular AI chatbot. The announcement did not contain specific details about how the technology would be used, but Mattel said the partnership would support AI-powered products and experiences and, quote, bring the magic of AI to age-appropriate play experiences.
Yeah, what is that age?
Exactly. Who gets to decide that age?
Well, I'm hearing stories of full-grown adults that are just going into psychosis, as you mentioned earlier.
Oh, great point, Venator. 90s movie Toy Soldiers. That's what we're living right now. You remember that? When they're little, they started bombing and killing people, and there was this little tiny toy.
Very good point.
Yeah, very good point. Children do not have the cognitive capacity to distinguish fully between reality and play, co-president of the advocacy group Public Citizen. Endowing toys with human-seeming voices that are able to engage in human-like conversations risks inflicting real damage on children. Mm-hmm. Among the potential harms cited by Mr. Weissman include the undermining of social development and interfering with children's ability to form peer relationships. Quote, Mattel should announce immediately that it will not incorporate AI technology in the children's toys. Mattel should not leverage its trust with parents to conduct a reckless social experiment on our children by selling toys that incorporate AI. Y'all, this is wild.
Yeah.
Because this is not like Teddy, what was his name? Teddy Ruxpin. You know,
hello,
I'm
Teddy
your friend.
Ruxpin.
I'm your friend. No, it's going to be.
This is many levels above Teddy Ruxpin. But here's my question.
What's that doll? That's
Chucky.
Chucky.
Do you want me to finish the rest of your sentences for the rest of the night?
Yeah, if you want to.
Anyway, so
as long as you finish them right.
If I finish them right.
Sometimes you don't get them right.
So, here's my question. What percentage of parents do you think are going to be of the thought process that this is great, this is amazing?
Surprisingly high.
Yeah.
Because they're lazy. Parents are lazy now.
Here's another question. How many of those parents do you think are going to be taking those children's toys after the children go to sleep and talking to the toys themselves?
Hey, you remember that night that our youngest daughter had that frog, and that frog started talking in the middle of the night on its own?
Was it the frog or the Furby?
Thought it was the frog. And I think we had a Furby that did it too.
We had a demon-possessed Furby, and we had to take the batteries out of that thing. So.
Yeah, I remember this. One of them, we took the batteries out, the frog, we took the batteries out, and it still made a noise. It still kept going. We had a cleansing prayer that night, y'all.
Furbies was a whole movement and thing. I could not stand those things. And I can't stand toys and clothing or anything that just catches fire and everybody's doing it when they seemingly have some kind of dark undertones to it.
Yeah.
I don't like any of that stuff. And Furbies was one of those things for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we thank God for our partners. We appreciate y'all so much. And we got a great website coming up, a refresh. This is what it looks like right now. If you go to LarryRagland.com, you can partner with us. You can watch previous shows. You can get a copy of my book. And, oh, by the way, I'm submitting my latest book tonight.
Hallelujah.
Tonight is going to the publisher. Y'all, come on.
It's been wonderful, but it's ready for the book to be done. So
it's ready to be done. Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. So I'll be giving you details about it coming up. And I did it last week. Let me give you another little preview of the website that's coming up. Yeah, let's look at the latest edition of the preview. This is just a preview. This is not finished of the website. It's going to be really, really nice. Hey, look at that guy. He's taking authority.
Yes.
He's like, devil, you better back up.
He's like, dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Devil, you better back up. All right. So why's my eyes closed and all that?
I don't know, but we needed some Botox or something there.
Sandy, what is wrong with you? You're about to get rebuked by the Big Picture family. Hey, I'm 57 years old.
And you're owning it, I guess. Right? Yes. He's owning it.
I'm about to walk off this studio right now.
What? No.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I've been gone for days. You better be nice to me.
I was.
You have all kinds of they're coming after you.
The netizens are going to be coming after
you. Coming after you. But yeah, look, that's all right. I can take it. But you notice I didn't say nothing. I will tell you that you look beautiful.
And you're so nice.
You look absolutely beautiful. You look as pretty as you did the day that I met you.
That's because I've had my Rejuviderm right there.
Okay, you're saying too much. You're saying too much tonight. Everybody don't need to know all your business. All right, so y'all just seeing the uncut version of Larry and Sandy tonight.
We're peeling the layer back.
Yeah, we're peeling the layer back.
Transparency galore, right?
Yeah. So here we go. Here we go. For those that want to stay to the end, and I hope you do stay to the end, we're going to close this program in a way that we've never closed this program. We're going to watch 9 minutes and 17 seconds of a video, uninterrupted. And I think it's only fitting as we move towards the 4th of July weekend, Thomas Jefferson is going to read the Declaration of Independence. And for some of you, it's the first time you're ever going to hear the full Declaration. And you're going to get a little bored, but stay with it because you got to think about almost 250 years ago, this document was written and declared our independence from England.
In Congress, July 4, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and their happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states.
Come on.
To prove this, let facts be submitted to a
Here we go.
He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them.
He brought the receipts.
He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people.
These are the receipts.
He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states.
I know I said it's going to be uninterrupted, but I want to let y'all know when this is over with, I'm going to give you something that you're going to be glad you waited on.
All right.
And I may break the internet.
For that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices, the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance.
Well,
he has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies
listen here,
without the consent of our legislatures. He has effected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
Yeah.
He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation.
Preach, Thomas!
For quartering large bodies of troops amongst us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states.
He brought the receipts!
For cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of a trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province and establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies.
You need to hear this.
For taking away our charters, abolishing the most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments. For suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with the power to legislate for us in all cases
This was
whatsoever.
a long document.
Yes, it was.
He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is, at this time, transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous of ages and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation.
Preach!
He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in our attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have
For the record, he's talking about the king. Was it King George?
I think so.
King George. He's talking about the king. He's literally calling the king out with the receipts.
Conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They, too, have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
You know, it had to take such bravery and determination to write that, to mean it, to get all those men to stand behind it, because guess what?
They're signing their death warrant.
That is a declaration of war. That is one of the worst things you could have laid on the desk of the king.
And most of them knew declaration of war, and this means I'm probably going to lose my fortune. I'm going to lose
my
life, my family. I could lose my family.
Exactly.
That's what they did.
Those men did that. And yet here we are in this modern day, and we can't even be patriotic.
Think about it.
When they laid everything on the line, you don't even want to take time to remember on the 4th of July? Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, come on. So here we go. I'm going to break the internet. Here we go. I'm going to take everybody back to high school if you're my age, if you're old like me. And when you're a kid and you're watching the cartoons and Schoolhouse Rock came on.
Come on, bring it.
And Schoolhouse Rock came on.
Yeah.
And I'm telling y'all, we need to go back to Schoolhouse Rock with these kids.
We the people,
in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty, to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution
for
the United States of America.
Woo! For those of you out there in TV land, that's what you call being instant in season, because I had no idea that was about to happen.
I know. I threw that on you.
You sure enough did.
But I'll be honest with you.
Did I rise to the occasion?
You didn't get all the words, though. I did. I helped you.
Well, I can't.
Let's make that clear. If I wouldn't have been singing it, you wouldn't have been able to finish it. I got it.
Listen, here's the problem.
There ain't no problem. Sister, you know you needed me. Just go ahead and admit it.
I needed you slightly.
You done talked about my wrinkles. You done talked about, can you just tell people you needed me on that one? I need that one. Give me that one.
I did need you on that one.
Okay, all right.
I can't sing as much as you without taking a breath.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, here's where I'm really going to break the internet. If that wasn't enough, I'm going to wrap it now.
Oh, we're really going to destroy it this time.
Well, we the people, in order to form okay, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
All right. So, happy birthday, America.
Absolutely.
And I hope everybody has a great time. I know this was different tonight.
Yep.
Y'all, I've been on a plane all day long trying to get home. She's been working. I had such an amazing...
My day started at 6 a.m. and it did not stop.
And I want to give a shout out to anybody that's watching from Minnesota, from Rogers, Minnesota, from the church, The Edge that I was at. So blessed and honored to be a part of that. And once again, if you came in late, 2 of our Big Picture family, Jamie, the buyer of the golden chicken, which fell off the table tonight,
laying directly below the table right now.
And I'm just hoping that you forget what you was going to do, and we're going to move on. But then also Pamela Baker, I was glad to see her as well. One of our moderators,
sweetie.
And anytime that I'm in an area, by the way, very soon I'll be in the Orlando area, the Naples, Florida area. I'm going to be in South Carolina. I'm going to be in Tennessee, going to different places. So I'll keep you up to date. And if you're in driving distance and you want to come out and meet us, we'd love to meet you. So happy birthday, America.
Absolutely.
And we want to remind you that we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake. God bless y'all. Happy 4th of July.
Love you.
Would you like to help us build the Big Picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.